Imagine waking up tomorrow and being told you need surgery. Now imagine that surgery with no anesthesia, no painkillers, no sedation, nothing. Just you, a blade, and the full, unfiltered sensation of being cut open while completely conscious. For most of human history, this was not a nightmare. This was simply Tuesday. Ancient humans faced injuries, infections, and diseases that demanded surgical intervention, and they faced them fully awake, fully feeling, fully aware of every cut, every saw, every moment of what was being done to their bodies. And what psychology is now revealing about how they endured it is one of the most extraordinary stories in all of human history. This is human theory, and today we go inside the ancient operating room. Ancient healing huts, stone tools, tribal medicine men. Before we talk about the pain, let's talk about who was doing the cutting. Ancient surgeons were not primitive butchers. They were among the most respected, most skilled, and most psychologically complex individuals in any ancient community. In ancient Egypt, surgeons were so revered they were considered touched by the gods. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, one of the oldest medical documents ever discovered, dating back to 1600 BC, describes 48 different surgical cases with a level of clinical detail that stunned modern doctors when it was translated. Skull fractures, dislocated jaws, spinal injuries, chest wounds. Ancient Egyptian surgeons diagnosed, documented, and treated all of them. In ancient India, a surgeon named Sushruta performed operations between 800 and 600 BC that would not be attempted in Europe for another 1,000 years. Cataract surgery, rhinoplasty, cesarean sections, limb amputations, all without a single drop of anesthesia as we know it today. These were not lucky accidents. These were skilled practitioners who had spent years learning their craft. The only difference between them and a modern surgeon was that their patient was completely awake. Brain pain centers lighting up, ancient patient preparing mentally. To understand what ancient surgical patients experienced, we first need to understand what pain actually is. Because pain is not simply a physical event. Pain is a psychological construction. The same injury in two different people can produce two completely different experiences of pain. This is one of the most important discoveries in modern neuroscience. Researchers have found that expectation, attention, belief, and emotional state all dramatically alter the intensity of pain felt. A soldier wounded in battle often reports feeling no pain at the moment of injury, because their brain, under extreme stress, floods the body with endorphins, nature's own painkillers. Ancient humans understood this instinctively, not in scientific terms, but through thousands of years of observation. Which is why ancient surgery was never just a physical procedure, it was a psychological ritual. Before any blade touched skin, the ancient surgeon prepared the patient's mind. Chanting, drumming, rhythmic breathing, herbal preparations that altered consciousness, community prayer, and collective focus. Every element was designed to shift the patient into a different psychological state. A state where pain could be endured, where the mind could separate itself from the screaming of the body. Modern psychology calls this dissociation. Ancient healers called it entering the spirit world. Ancient surgical tools, obsidian blades, stone implements. Now let's talk about what they actually used, because ancient surgical tools were not the crude hacking instruments most people imagine. Obsidian blades, volcanic glass sharpened to a fine edge, were so sharp that modern surgeons have actually tested them against steel scalpels. The result was surprising. Obsidian cuts more cleanly than steel. The wound edges are smoother, healing is faster. Some modern surgeons actually prefer obsidian for certain delicate procedures today. Ancient surgeons were using the sharpest cutting tool available on Earth. For numbing, they had a surprisingly sophisticated pharmacy. Mandrake root, which contains compounds similar to modern sedatives. Alcohol, wine, and fermented beverages consumed in large quantities before surgery. Cannabis, used medically across ancient cultures, from China to Egypt. Opium, the ancient world's most powerful painkiller, used in surgical contexts in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. None of these were as effective as modern anesthesia, not even close. But they were not nothing. An ancient patient going into surgery might be heavily intoxicated, mildly sedated by plant compounds, and in a deeply altered psychological state from ritual preparation. It was not comfortable, but it was made possible.
But let's not romanticize this, because what ancient surgical patients experienced was genuinely terrifying. Ancient Roman medical writer Celsus described the qualities of a good surgeon in chilling terms. He should have a strong and steady hand that never trembles. He should be ready to use his left hand as well as his right. His vision should be sharp and clear. His spirit should be filled with pity for the patient, but not so much pity that he hesitates at the patient's cries and cuts less than necessary. Read that again. Not so much pity that he hesitates at the patient's cries, because the patients were screaming. Ancient accounts of surgery describe patients being held down by multiple assistants, leather straps restraining limbs, wood placed between teeth to prevent biting through the tongue. The speed of the surgeon was not just a matter of skill, it was a matter of mercy. The fastest recorded amputation in pre-anesthesia history was performed by Scottish surgeon Robert Liston in the 1800s. He removed a leg in 28 seconds. 28 seconds! Not because he was showing off, because every additional second was another second of unendurable agony for a fully conscious human being. And yet, ancient patients submitted to this. They lay down on the stone table. They accepted the restraints. They opened themselves to the blade. Why? Because the alternative was death. And the human will to survive is perhaps the most powerful psychological force ever documented. But of all the surgeries performed in the ancient world, one stands above all others in its sheer psychological and physical audacity: trepanation, the deliberate drilling or scraping of a hole into a living human skull. This is not speculation, this is not mythology. Ancient skulls with trepanation holes have been found on every continent on Earth. In Peru, in France, in Russia, in Africa, dating back over 7,000 years. And here is the detail that changes everything. Many of these skulls show evidence of bone regrowth around the hole, which means the patient survived. They survived having a hole drilled into their skull while fully conscious with stone tools thousands of years before any understanding of bacteria, infection, or neuroscience. Researchers believe trepanation was performed for headaches, seizures, mental illness, and what ancient cultures understood as possession by evil spirits. The psychology behind this is profound. Ancient healers had observed that certain head injuries changed personality, changed behavior, changed the mind, and they concluded, logically within their framework, that the skull could be opened to release what was trapped inside. They were not wrong about everything. Modern neurosurgeons still drill into skulls to relieve pressure, remove tumors, treat epilepsy. The principle survived 7,000 years. Only the anesthesia changed. So how did they do it? How did ordinary ancient humans endure procedures that would send modern people into immediate psychological collapse? Modern psychology gives us several answers. The first is community. Ancient surgical patients were never alone. Their entire tribe surrounded them. Elders prayed, drummers drummed, family held their hands. The community collectively focused its psychological energy on the patient's survival. Research on modern pain management confirms that social support dramatically reduces the subjective experience of pain. Having people present who care about you literally changes how much pain you feel. Ancient humans always had this. The second is meaning. Ancient people believed their suffering had purpose. The gods were testing them. The spirits were healing them. Their pain was part of a sacred process. Modern psychology calls this meaning-making, and research consistently shows that pain experienced as meaningful is significantly more tolerable than pain experienced as random and purposeless. Ancient surgical patients were not just enduring pain, they were participating in something sacred. The third is acceptance. Modern humans fight pain. They resist it, they fear it, they catastrophize it. Ancient humans were raised from birth to understand that pain was part of life, not an aberration, not a failure, simply part of being human. This acceptance did not eliminate pain, but it changed the relationship to it. Psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, wrote that humans can endure almost any suffering if they can find meaning in it. Ancient surgical patients found meaning in every cut. Every scream was a prayer, every moment of agony a step towards survival. We live in an age of instant relief. Headache, pill. Anxiety, medication. Pain, anesthesia. And these are extraordinary gifts. Let no one mistake this video for a glorification of unnecessary suffering. But in our ability to eliminate all discomfort, we have also lost something. The ancient understanding that pain can be endured. That the human mind is capable of extraordinary feats of psychological resilience. That suffering, when held with community, meaning, and acceptance, does not destroy us, it reveals us. Every ancient patient who lay down on that stone table knew something that comfort has made us forget, that we are stronger than we think, that our minds are more powerful than our pain, that survival is not just a physical act, it is a psychological choice, made in the darkest moment when every nerve is screaming and something deep inside decides to hold on. Somewhere in the ancient world, a person lay on a cold stone table. No drugs in their blood, no sleep to escape into, no mercy from the blade. Just a human being facing the full weight of their mortality with nothing but their mind, their community, and their will to live. They screamed. Of course they screamed, but they endured. And in that endurance is a message across thousands of years. You are made of the same material as every ancient human who survived what should not have been survivable. That strength did not disappear. It is still in you, waiting for the moment you need it most. This is human theory. If this changed how you think about human strength, share it with someone who needs to remember theirs.